Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio, so today I'm bringing you my top 8 game from a fairly prestigious online tournament. This tournament was stacked with world players, had about 80 players going in, most of them world's competitors, or at least many of them world's competitors. Very competitive tournament, and I managed to get myself to a 6-1 record and top 8. If you ask very nicely, I might even show you some of the games from earlier on in this tournament. So, I am here against the lovely Josh Marking. He was at Worlds this past year. He's a very good player. He is going to be playing Yveltal, and I am going to be playing Vespiquen Zoroark Zebstrika, another one of my silly counter decks. And you'll see I lost the flip there, but, you know, losing the flip, it's the kind of thing I do, ladies and gentlemen. But it's alright, I've got a couple of Forest of Giant Plants, so I have a chance of a turn 1 play here. So, I'm starting with an unknown, my hand is not amazing, maybe my opponent will end me. Kind of hoping Josh does end me, to be perfectly honest, because I kind of want to be end right now. So he gets a DCE on his Yveltal, plays a Max Elixir but whiffs the Dark Energy, playing a second. Now, as I always say, the fact... Oh, and he whiffed both of them. Now, if you're playing these decks with double colourless energy, you would expect people to be playing 8 or 9 basics, which means you would only expect to hit 2 out of 4 Max Elixirs. So he sees 3 on turn 1, he hits 3 of them, finds 1, we'd expect him to hit the 4th. Now, that's not a good hand. I am going to have to Ultra Ball for a Shaymin. I kind of need those Zebstrikers, because against an Yveltal deck, Zebstrika is amazing. So, the question here is, I'm going to play the Acro Bikes, maybe I hit a supporter. I hit an Ultra Ball, I don't really want to get rid of my Zoroark break, but I can Super Rod for it later, it's not the end of the world. Play another, looking for a supporter, Klefki or an energy. Well, I'll take the energy, because the Klefki, it adds to the discard, it means I can do more damage. Vespiquen does damage based on Pokemon in the discard. So the Ultra Ball here, I'm keeping those Zebstrikers. I need my Zebstrikers in this game. It is absolutely crucial. I'm gonna need them, so I have to discard the Zoroark. Now, I'm going to have to attach an energy to an unknown here. I don't want to do this. I have no choice, ladies and gentlemen, because I need to draw more cards with the Shaymin. Now, I get an unknown and I get a Klefki. Now, I can do one of my favourite tricks here. I can attach the Klefki to an unknown, attach it like a tool, blocks attacks from Megas, and then discard the unknown, using the ability to draw an extra card, and that actually gets rid of both of them. So I've now drawn all 4 unknowns. 0 Blitzle, 0 Combee, 0 Zoroark, and all 4 unknowns. Now there's another Acro Bike there, and oh, I finally get a Combee. So that's alright, I have an attacker. Now I can't play either of my energies, unfortunately, but I at least have an attacker on the field here. Could be worse, although I should have put the Dark Energy on the active so I could retreat. Now that's not good. I don't want a Sycamore here. I don't want to get rid of the double colourless. I don't want to get rid of both my Zebstrikers. But here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Josh has already got free energy on the Yveltal. The Mew's got free retreat. All he would have to do is hit a Lysander, KO the Combee, and I have 0 attackers for the rest of the game. That was a very painful Sycamore, but I had no choice. You'll notice I now have my other 3 double colourless in my hand and a Sycamore. I am hoping so badly that he ends me here, because if he doesn't end me, I am completely stuffed. I cannot discard all 4 double colourless. Now, I am playing a special charge to get 2 double colourless back. I cannot discard all 4 double colourless on the first turn of the game. It can't be done. So, quite frankly, I'm sitting here now and I'm crossing my fingers. If he doesn't end me, this could be a short game. Now, I have got a Vespiquen, and I have got a double colourless. Josh here is thinking, right, well, I'm going for this Yveltal. And it's a good play. Pitch Black Spear. Oh, and he hits the N off of a Trainer's Mail. Is he going to play the N? He doesn't know how bad my hand is. Now, he's got a Lysander. Oh, he plays a Lysander. And there we go. Had I not done that Sycamore last turn, my hand, or my field, would just be a Shaman with 60 damage and an unknown. So I had to play that Sycamore. I mean, I can't Sycamore here. I cannot play the Sycamore. The good news is, the only Pokemon with which he can one-hit KO me is something like a Darkrai EX if he plays it, or an Yveltal EX, and I've got a backup attacker, so this is alright. Because here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. I need to have an attacker here. Now, that Combee was huge, because now I can attach a DCE, hopefully catch Vespiquen next turn. And the one bonus of hitting all of those unknowns early game was I'm actually doing 130. I've got the KO. Still no supporter, and I didn't play one last turn, so Josh is going to be thinking, can I end him? Can I not end him? I know Josh has got an N in hand, but it might be that he's actually forced to play the N, although he's just discarded it with an Ultra Ball. Come on, Versus Seeker. Now, the fact that I've taken a prize, you know, we all know I've got cards in hand here. Now, he's got to hit his final max elixir and have an energy in hand for the KO. I know he's played 3 out of 4 max elixir, so the only way he gets a KO on my Vespiquen this turn is to get an energy. Oh, and there was a Sycamore, so no end for me this turn. So I'm still stuck here with a hand which is, once again, now maybe I can Sycamore here. It's getting better because at least I can have 2 DCE on the field. Unless he hits max elixir and an energy, he won't be KO. Oh, and he doesn't get the KO. So now I know that I can get... Now the question is here, can I get the KO on his Yveltal? There's no Fighting Fury belt. So there is a possibility here of getting the KO. But what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to grab the Yveltal. This means that Mew cannot copy Yveltal's attack. It means that Yveltal cannot attack. That Shaman's got 60 HP. And so, if he uses Pitch Black Spear, he's getting 2 prizes. By KOing the Yveltal, I am making sure that that doesn't happen. Not only that, but I choose not to put the stadium down for a very simple reason. And there's the N, and I love this N, because that is still not a great hand. Although I could put Zoroark, DCE, and then Sycamore, so that is an option that I would have here. But for the time being, I've stopped him getting the KO on that Shaman. I forced him into an Yveltal EX play, and that's why I didn't play my Forest of Giant Plants. Parallel City reduces damage done by 20, but there's still no Fighting Fury belt, so I've got a chance here. I've got the Vespiquen. I'm going to need 15 Pokemon in the discard to get a one-hit KO. So the question is, how many Pokemon do I have? I've got the Vespiquen, but I need 15 in the discard to get a KO. Now, am I going to count? I am. So I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need 2 more Pokemon to get the KO. So what I can do here, I can play the Acrobike. And if I hit a Pokemon with the Acrobike, because Acrobike, look at 2, discard 1, keep 1. If I hit a Pokemon, I can discard that and then play an Ultra Ball. And I do. So I discard the Zoroark. I can now grab the N, Ultra Ball the N and the Dark Energy for any old useless Pokemon. I can then play the Sycamore, discarding the Pokemon, and that will be 15. And as I've just gotten rid of a Zoroark, I might as well kill a Zoroark here. And now I am going to have 15 Pokemon, but I've got to hit the Forest of Giant Plants, or I'm only actually doing 150, and I do. Now, I play more than one, but the fact that I didn't play my Forest of Giant Plants last turn might have saved me. I didn't need it, I didn't need to play it, and now I was able to draw it off the Sycamore. And you'll see here, I haven't actually played a stadium yet. I've been deliberately stashing my stadiums so that I'm not in a position where it's going to come back to haunt me. Now I'm putting an energy on the Zeb Strike on the Blitzel here. I am hoping that I draw into my Super Rod. Spoiler alert, it's prized and I'm not about to draw it. So this is bad, ladies and gentlemen. I don't get the Super Rod. I'm not going to get the Super Rod. But I know that the only way Josh gets a KO here is to get a Dark Energy on the Mew and put an Yveltal EX on the bench. But he doesn't know that I'm unable to get my Zeb Striker out. So he's got to be thinking at this stage, if he gets Zeb, and Josh is a clever dude, Josh knows Zeb Striker. So if I get my Zeb Striker out here, Josh knows that a Lysander Zeb Striker is game. But the only way he can KO this is with an Yveltal EX. If he doesn't put one down, and there's a Shaman for 4, which means if he doesn't hit Yveltal EX or end me, I've got Lysander for game. Because as it stands at the moment, Mew can use his ability to copy the attacks of any Pokemon, any basic Pokemon Josh has in play, but he doesn't have any basic other than the Shaman to use Sky Return. Now he's got the N, I'm going to need to hit the Lysander off the N here, but I've got a fairly small deck, I'm playing a lot of consistency cards, and I do hit the Versus Seeker. So here, he can take 2 prizes off the Shaman, but it's all irrelevant. I can use the Versus Seeker to grab the Lysander, assuming I've played Lysander this game, which I believe I have. I'm fairly sure I have. There we go. I can play the Lysander for the Shaman, take 2 prizes with B Revenge, and you'll see here that Super Rod was one of my final 2 prizes. I had a very lucky escape this game, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I hit a little bit of luck with Josh here because he wasn't able to get the Fury Belt on the Yveltal EX, but I had to play very, very carefully here. You saw the discard early game. If I hadn't played that Sycamore, Josh would have KO'd my only attacker and I can't win the game. No Super Rod, no Zeb Strikers for the entire game, and there's nothing I could do. But I managed to... I didn't play my stadiums. I saved them and it came back to get me. I managed to get just enough Pokemon in the discard. Now, had Josh had a Fighting Fury Belt on the Yveltal, I don't do enough damage. He KOs the Vespiquen, I don't win that game. You've got to hit a little bit of luck to win these games. So I'm not saying I didn't hit any luck there. But I went second, I had to get rid of both my Zeb Strikers, my only Super Rod was prized, and I had to play an entire game against Yveltal without my Zeb Strikers. But bit of careful play and I managed to pull it out in the end. And there's no prizes for guessing what I'm going to try and do in game 2. I am going to be going nuts for my Blitzel. Now, there's an awkward decision to make here because I kind of want to put the Klefki in the active, but Klefki's got 70 HP. Which means that it's not one-hit KO'd by Pitch Black Spear, whereas an Unknown would be one-hit KO'd by Pitch Black Spear. Which means if I bench a Shaman, it takes 2 Pitch Black Spears to KO Klefki, by which point my Shaman's also been KO'd. So that 70 HP Klefki is a slightly risky starter Pokemon, but I'm hoping I can get an energy to retreat it. Now, the question is Josh going to get a turn 2 Pitch Black Spear and a Lysander? Because if he does, he's going after my Blitzel, and then I might not have any Zeb Strikers anyway. So he gets the first energy, and Josh doesn't need any acceleration here. He just needs a dark and a double colourless, because he can't attack on turn 1. So he's got an energy this turn, he puts a double colourless, oh, and that's a Hex, and that's really annoying. I need to top to put, oh, okay. So there will be no Unknown, there will be no Shaman, there's nothing I can do, I passed the turn, I've got Nout, ladies and gentlemen. But he can't play Hex forever, so next turn, I can go ahead and play the Shaman, play the Unknown, draw some cards, there's a Max Elixir. But this is a slightly risky play from Josh here, because as it stands at the moment, he's played a Sycamore. So I've got a Blitzel with a DC on the bench. If I hit Zeb Striker Lysander energy, which is not outside the realms of possibility, then I'm going to be able to KO that Yveltal, go 2 prizes up, and take this energy off the field. So he's going for a more aggressive Yveltal EX strategy here, rather than last game where he went fully with a pitch black spear. But it's going to take a bit of doing, but it is possible for me that I can take down that Yveltal next turn and really mess with his setup. Because pitch black spear does 60 damage. It won't one-hit KO a Zeb Striker that has 100 HP. So if I can, and this is what I'm thinking here. So actually hits 2 max elixir straight away, both onto the Yveltal, but no pitch black spear. Oh, and he hits a Fighting Fury bout. So I don't have much here. I'm going to have to go a little bit full on. I'm going to have to put the DCE on the Klefki. Don't want to do it, but it gets it off the field. And then I'm going to have to shame in for free, play the unknown, cross my fingers. Lysander, Zeb Striker. Okay, I've got them both. I've got the Lysander and the Ultra Ball. Now, I will point out at this stage, I'm playing like 4 Acrobike, 4 Unknown, 3 Shaman, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Sycamore, 2 N. I'm playing a lot of consistency cards. This deck is made to run. But I've got the combo here. I knew I had the energy in hand. I needed Lysander, Zeb Striker. As long as they're not prized, I'm going to be okay here. And at this stage, I'm fine dumping other Pokemon. None of the Zeb Striker line's prized here, which makes me very happy. Here, I'm feeling very good about my chances. I Lysander the EX, I retreat the Klefki. I don't want to burn a double colourless to retreat the Klefki, but I've got to do so. Because here, unless Josh is able, and I know he's at least 2 max elixirs down. So, unless he gets another Yveltal EX with 2 energy, hitting a max elixir along the way, I know that I've got at least 1 more attack with Zeb Striker, and that Zeb Striker is going to be putting in work. What I really want here is a Blitzel. Now, I'm not using Klefki here, because all I've got on my field is Shaman Klefki. In the unlikely event he does KO my Zeb Striker, I don't want to be left with only a Shaman that I have to put in the active. So that Klefki is deliberately left on the bench just in case he's able to do something. Alrighty then. Now, they're pretty good prizes. I've got a Shaman, I've got an Unknown. And at this stage of the game, oh, here comes a Max Elixir. And he hits 3 out of 4 here. So he's hitting pretty well on the Max Elixir, and he's got the N, which is the perfect supporter for the time being. But I've bought myself a little bit of time here. I'm fairly certain that Zeb Striker's not going down. So all I need to do here is set up another attacker for next turn. I need a Combi or a Blitzel. I mean, Blitzel ideally. Even a Zoroark would do okay here, because he's got a fairly large bench. Although we know he plays Parallel City. So we know that if he plays Parallel City, he is going to be able to limit his bench to 3. And Zoroark does less damage. So no energy there. So I know I've got a prize with the Zeb Striker, and I've probably got a 4th prize with Zeb Striker here. So now I'm starting to feel very good about my chances. So here I can go ahead, I can get the Combi down. I'm just thinking about the Ultra Ball and whether I want to grab a Blitzel, and I do. Now, I'm going to have to get rid of the Combi and the Unknown to grab the Blitzel, but from my point of view, I don't think that Zeb Striker's going down this turn. What if I can set up a second Zeb Striker? Then, and I know I'm going to be end pretty much every turn if Josh has Versus Seeker. So my goal here is very, very simple. Just make sure that I'm filling my deck as much as I can, and I'm setting up other Pokemon. If I can set up a Blitzel with a Zeb Striker with a DCE, I'm feeling pretty good about my chances of winning this game here. So, I'm getting rid of some Pokemon just to thin my deck, so if I get end, it's okay. I hope I'm not going to play the Shaman here. Playing the Shaman, oh, Ross, you could have saved that Shaman. But again, I'm looking for the energy. Because if I can put a double colourless on the Blitzel, now I'm feeling good. Okay, no, I like that Shaman. Was a risky move. Could have stashed it. But now I've got 2 fewer cards in my deck. I've got an energy on the Blitzel. Now I do use Wonderlock. Because, of course, I don't need a random Pokemon. Now I get the Crashing Bolt, and this is why I play Zebstrika. Because against an Yveltal deck, Zebstrika is brutal. Because you could just run through their deck. Now there's going to be other cards, and I'm pretty sure Josh is going to be looking for one of them pretty soon, and most of them play Ninja Boy, but it means that play they really want, using Pitch Black Spear to take your Shaymins off the bench, that play just gives you easy prizes, and Pitch Black Spear doesn't one-hit KO Zebstrika, so you force them into bringing out their EXs, and either you can two-hit KO with Zoroark and Vespiquen, or you can try and do big one-hit KOs with Vespiquen, or you can Zebstrika. Now, Josh is going to keep ending me here, but look at my board. I've got 3 prizes remaining, my Zebstrika's not being KO'd this turn, I've got a Blitzel with an energy on the bench. So all I need is energy, Zebstrika, and I've got at least 2 turns to get it, and this game is basically in hand here. Now, you see he's benched the Umbreon. The Umbreon is an EX, it has 170 HP, and it's not weak to Grass, Dark, or Lightning. So this is Josh's way of just buying a little bit of time. Yveltal is way too vulnerable to Zebstrika. Now, he plays an Escape Rope here, and I'm just going to put a Shaymin up. And the reason is, very simply, I don't think he can KO a Shaymin. And I've been end. And in a game like this, I've taken a 3 prize lead. I know he's going to end me turn after turn after turn. So I can cross my fingers, hoping that I draw out of it, or I can do everything in my power to make sure I draw out of it. Now he's going to use Umbreon's attack here, 20 damage, discard cards from his hand, and then draw a whole bunch. So he gets to discard a card, so he draws a card. So here, I'm just going to nullify the attack. I'm going to bench a Zoroark because unless he hits his Parallel City, I'm doing decent damage. I evolve up into Vespiquen. And again, I'm limiting the amount of cards in my deck here. Now that Zoroark and that Vespiquen aren't in my deck to draw into. So now I get the Shaymin. If I get end, that Shaymin is in my deck now. I've got 1 more card I can use to draw out of an N. And I still don't have much faith in him KOing the Shaymin, because Umbreon maxes out at 70 damage. So we see another N here, but of course, and I've not got the smallest deck in the world, I've got a fair few cards in my deck, but I've also got a lot of consistency cards. I've got Versus Seeker. I've got all sorts I can do here. Now here, I don't want to waste a DCE retreating the Shaymin, but I can get a KO here. And I've also got that Versus Seeker, so, and annoyingly, no Sycamore. I haven't played a Sycamore yet. That's upsetting. So I'm going to end myself, or at least grab an N. I feel very confident in my ability here to draw out of N. I'm going to play the Shaymin looking for a Sycamore, and I play 4 Sycamore, so I should hit one here out of these 4 cards. I don't. That's frustrating. I think the odds are on my side there. But it's irrelevant because I don't draw a Sycamore. Now, what I could do is I could use Lysander to KO a Shaymin. Now, one reason to do this, if he hits a... if he goes ahead and hits his Parallel City, he's going to discard his Shaymin, meaning they're no longer easy prizes. But I don't really mind if he discards his Shaymin. If he discards his Shaymin, it makes it a longer game. He's got 6 prizes to take. I've got a Vespiquen on my side of the field. So you know what? Even if this game goes long, I'm just going to put more and more Pokemon in my discard. And at some point, I run out of Zebstrikas, and I can take my last 2 prizes or my last prize with Vespiquen. So at this stage, I'm not terribly worried about N. Because, okay, if I get N and I draw a Lysander or a Versus Seeker, yay! I can take the game quickly. But if I get N and don't draw those cards, well, I've got a Blitzer with an energy on the bench, I just need Energy Zebstrika. I've got a Vespiquen on the bench. I just need double colourless energy. So I'm feeling pretty good about my chances here, even if I get End. I mean, you can see, look at my hand. Energy, which I need, and then Lysander for the game, Vespiquen for the game, N and N. My deck is chocked full of consistency cards at this stage. I know there's an N coming, and there it is, but I feel pretty good. Now, I don't really like commentating my own games, ladies and gentlemen. It's very difficult to do it in a way that doesn't sound vain. I hope here, and 2 acrobikes is a good draw off an N, but if I were to show you my deck right now, you'd see how many outs I have. It's a lot. You notice I played the Forest of Giant Plants, 1 fewer card in my deck. I played the Zorua, 1 fewer card in my deck. Now, this is a good play, because now Zebstrika's got 60 HP remaining, a Pitch Black Spear from Josh will take 3 prizes. But as long as I can hit a Lysander off the acrobike, I'm feeling pretty good. There's the Vespiquen. I think I have a Lysander in the discard. I hope I do, because that will be game. So I hope I don't sound too vain. And there it is, and that will be game on the Shaman. I hope I don't sound too vain. I don't really like doing my own games, but I've had a lot of people saying, hey Ross, can we have some PTCGO games? And you know what? Top 8 of a competitive tournament against a world quality player. If I'm going to put up a PTCGO game, this is the game to do it. Now, you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There's a comment section. Go nuts. Tell me what I did wrong. Click like, click subscribe. And if you like these PTCGO games, let me know. Get the views up, get the likes up, tell me you like them, and I'll do more of them. I recorded all my rounds in this tournament. Some of them are a bit boring, some of them are worth putting up. And if it's worth doing, I might put up my top 4 game as well. Cheers to Josh, lovely game, and look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.